Merry Christmas everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing 3 Christmas costumed electric rodents all together on the same team, with Raichu, level 50 Pikachu, and the newly released Dedenne, which all got buffs this season by the way, with Thundershock of course dealing more damage, but the fun doesn't stop there, as in the second half of this video, alongside one of this trio, you'll get to see even more Pikachu clones that got buffs this season. Now before we get into the battles, I do want to give a shout out to my friends DMS and Caterpie Queen for trading all 3 of these Pokemon to me. You can see in the graphic, it's actually missing the IVs because I made it before I actually obtained these Pokemon. I personally don't really care all that much about costume Pokemon until I have a last minute Christmas video idea, so I'm very grateful to have friends that not only traded these Pokemon to me, but also powered them all the way up, double moved them, and TM'd them to get all the correct moves, including an elite TM used for Surf on that level 50 Pikachu, so thank you to both of you. And with that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What is your favourite costume Pokemon in Pokemon Go? Now this does not have to be a Christmas costume, but let me know in the comment section down below. And with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Let's go into the first battle, leading Raichu into Talonflame. So this is a great matchup for the entire team. The opponent is going to say swap into a Shadow Drapion. I'm just going to stay in. We do have a slight energy advantage as it takes 1 turn to swap out. So we go for the Wild Charge, grabbing a shield advantage, and then we actually swap into our Dedenne. Now this seems like a strange decision, but I feel like it's unlikely that they're going to be running Sludge Bomb. They just fire off the Crunch there, and then we throw on the CMP type, winning CMP, firing off the Parabolic Charge, and the opponent is going to double shield their Shadow Drapion. They are fighting hard for switch advantage. However, it's not really going to matter too much as we have a Raichu and we've got a Pikachu in the back. So at this point, we're going to come in with the Raichu. They will outpace me to this charge view, so that's okay. I'm going to shield and then I will overfarm just slightly in this matchup here. Going to go 2 over the Wild Charge, fire off the Wild Charge here, and of course this will be enough damage to easily get the KO up against the Drapion. They're going to come in with a Azumarill, so they are double weak to the electric typing, and this game is looking like it's already over. We fire off the Wild Charge, dealing huge damage. The opponent panic swaps into their Talonflame, and we're going straight for Wild Charge here up against the Talonflame. This is just a Pikachu, but it gets the one shot. They come back in with a Azumarill. We already had the energy for a second Wild Charge, but the opponent concedes the match. So GG to opponent there. Into next battle, we can see a Shadow for Alligator in the lead. So once again, great lead for us. However, the opponent is going to swap into Serperior, and we don't have a good response whatsoever. We've actually only got 1 charge brief on the entire team that isn't going to hit for resisted damage, but I fire off the Wild Charge. That does some respectable damage there. We're now going to correctly shield up the Frenzy Plant, fire off a Play Rough straight away. I don't think I really could afford to overfarm by much, so Play Rough is actually going to be no shielded, which is huge for me, and the opponent once again going to be double weak to the electric typing, and we can fire off a Parabolic Charge here. Parabolic Charge doesn't actually hit that hard, but it does have a chance to boost up the defense, and again we boost up our defense here, firing off a second Parabolic Charge, and at this point the opponent will be able to commit to a full farm down, so instead we just fully sacrifice the Pikachu here. I'm not going to bother shielding. The opponent full sends a Brave Bird. That's resisted damage, but it still gets the KO. But now we can just come in with the Raichu, and this should be game over. The opponent safe swaps back into their Feraligatr. However, we're able to outpace them to a charge move. Trailblaze gets the KO there. We boost up our attack. The opponent makes it to a last charge move, but it doesn't really matter. We can just shield up the fly, go for 2 Thunder Shocks, fire off the Wild Charge, and once again the opponent concedes the match at the last second, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there. Into next battle, we see Raichu into Clodsire. So this is definitely one of the worst things we can see, and unfortunately we've only got Surf really that's going to hit for some decent damage. We've also got Trailblaze, so every time we throw it we will boost up our attack. However, you can see the first one doesn't really do much damage, and these Thunder Shocks, even when we boost them by like 3 or 4 times, they're not going to do much damage. However, the opponent swaps out into Shadow Dragonite. Maybe I should have thrown a charge move there just to maybe grab a shield back from the opponent. However, we're going to swap into Dedenne. We are going to no shield this, and honestly I'm in a bit of a weird situation because I can't really come out with too much HP because Clodsire will just be able to farm me down, and I'm also not going to be able to deal much damage into the Clodsire either. So at this point they will get quite a huge Poison Sting farm down, and as well I figured we might as well just swap out there. I can't let them farm me down, so we go for a Trailblaze. Once again Trailblaze grabs that first shield from the opponent, and at this point I'm going to no shield. I'm hoping that we can take them out with my Pikachu, and then just hopefully there's something in the back that is very weak to electric typing. So we're going to come in with the Pikachu. They will outpace me to this first charge move, so I'm forced to shield this up. The opponent fires off the Stone Edge here. I'm going to overfarm here, not by too much actually. Maybe I should have overfarmed more than I did here, but either way we fire off the Surf. Surf gets the KO, but they've got more Pekko in the back, and unfortunately it's not looking too good for us. We can fire off a Surf. Surf is going to be no shielded. It actually does some decent damage there. However, I tried to catch a charge move. The opponent does not throw straight away. They're going to fire for a charge move here. Honestly, Aura Wheel would get the KO. They actually go for a Psychic Fangs, which doesn't quite take us out, but they had back-to-back charge moves anyways. So Psychic Fangs, number 2, will be taking out the Pikachu, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there, of course, very difficult to beat a ground type with this team. However, into the next battle, we can see a Jumpluff in the lead. So we are going to fire off after 6 Thunder Shocks here, as this will be before they reach a potential Energy Ball. We're now going to swap, clear the debuff, come in with our Dedenne, and actually, to be honest, there's no reason to go for Play Rough here. Honestly, Parabolic Charge would do some decent damage, and it would probably put them into Thunder Shock farm down range, and they were obviously going to shield anyway. So at this point, maybe it was a mistake here. They will actually now be able to outpace me to the next charge move, and Parabolic Charge, like I mentioned already, does have that chance to buff our defense. So yeah, definitely should have just gone for the Parabolic Charge straight away. However, we're going to go for it now, and we are going to get the KO, and we do buff our defense. And actually, if the opponent doesn't full send an Energy Ball, which they don't, we're going to live the Aerial Ace there, make it to another Parabolic Charge, and the opponent actually going to use their final shield. We're now going to swap into our Raichu. I'm going to call a bait here, as the opponent goes for an Aerial Ace. They then swap into your Novan Stunfisk, and this is huge for us because we still have a shield. We've got a huge energy advantage. We go for the Trailblaze. The first one does just under half their health. However, of course, we have boosted up our attack, so now the next Trailblaze should be enough damage to get the KO here. And then, of course, this Jumpluff does have quite a lot of energy. Energy Ball, oh, sorry, not Energy Ball there. Energy Ball will be coming through now from the Jumpluff here, but it doesn't matter, as we can come in with our Pikachu, go for a Wild Charge straight away. We should be able to outpace them, and of course, Wild Charge from this range will get the KO up against the Jumpluff, and I'm able to take that game. So GG so far there, into next battle, we can see Raichu into a Toxapex. So this is a good matchup for us once again. The opponent's going to stay swap into Malamar now. Honestly, I was thinking straight away it's going to be Diggersby in the back, which is going to be very difficult to deal with, so I'm going to grab that shield. I'm now going to swap into my Dedenne here, and I'm going to no-shield this charge move here. I'm thinking I might as well save shields for my Pokemon that do actually have coverage up against the Diggersby, and of course, my Raichu with Trailblaze and my Pikachu with Surf. So, going to no-shield once again, and just play it safe. There's no point going for Parabolic Charge here, because I'm not going to make it to 2 moves, so I go for the Play Rough. I get all shields down on the opponent's end here. And at this point, I'm still not going to bother throwing just yet, because I realize if I don't throw straight away, they're going to go for another superpower. I can now overfarm so much. Go for a Trailblaze here. Trailblaze, of course, going to boost up my attack. So if it is Diggersby in the back, which it is, we can now go for a boosted Trailblaze. Trailblaze is going to be no-shielded. Of course, they have no shields remaining. I then swap. I catch the charge move here, and I don't know if this was the right play here. Of course, if I stayed in, I could fire off a boosted, well, double boosted Trailblaze and definitely get the KO up against the Diggersby. However, I then probably get taken out by a Toxapex in the back, despite having super effective damage here with my Pikachu. So honestly, I'm not sure if this was the right play. However, we go for back-to-back Wild Charges. I will reach another Trailblaze on my Raichu, but we're not boosted anymore. Is this enough damage to get the KO? No, it just barely does not. They're able to quick attack, farm me down, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. So GG Topo there, into the next battle, we can see a Shadow Drapion in the lead. So this time we're going to overfarm. The opponent does not throw straight away. We go straight for Wild Charge, and it gets the one shot. The opponent does not respect the damage. They then come in with a Malamar, so we're going to swap straight away, clear that debuff. And this time we're firing off a Parabolic Charge. We've already one-shot the opponent with a different Pokemon. The opponent actually catches onto Jumpluff, but again getting that defense boost. And the opponent has had enough of it already. They are just going to instantly concede the match. So GG Topo there, into the next battle, see Shadow Typhlosion in the lead now. This is very awkward for us, because unfortunately for us, the opponent can just commit both shields and go for a huge Incinerate farm down, coming out with 100 energy, and honestly, there's just not a lot we can do here now. We fire off Wild Charge, we're going to grab the final shield. At this point, I'm going to come in with my Dedenne, and I'm just going to call that the opponent's going to randomly bait for some reason, so they are well over 100 energy at this point. I'm going to no shield. The opponent actually does bait with a Thunder Punch, which is a huge call for me. At this point, I have to shield. The opponent then full sends the Blast Burn, but they swap into Serperior, and it's not looking too good for us. But we're going to go and fire off the Play Rough. Play Rough does just over 50% of their HP. I'm going to no-shield this. I'm hoping Pikachu can somehow sweep. We actually lived that. I'm going to reach a... Nope, never mind. I thought I was going to reach a Parabolic Charge there, but I'm not able to do so. and that just gives them more farm, which is very unfortunate. It means I can't really overfarm too much with the Pikachu here, but I am going to farm up to at least one away from the next charge move. So we fire off the Wild Charge gets the KO, but they've got a Clodsire in the back, and unfortunately 2 Surfs will not be enough damage to take out a Clodsire from a Pikachu. It actually gets nowhere near, and even then they're already able to make it to a Sludge Bomb, which gets the KO, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there into next battle. You can see a Mandibuzz in the lead, so a much better lead matchup for us. The opponent's going to stay in with the Mandibuzz and then eventually swap into Clodsire. But this is very different from my previous few battles up against Clodsire because we have a huge energy advantage. So we can fire off 2 Trailblazers before they reach a potential Earthquake. Trailblaze number 2 also going to be no shielded by the opponent. Of course, it makes sense because the next Trailblaze is going to do even more damage. The opponent actually full sends an Earthquake there, which is huge for me because it's going to take them quite a while to reach the next charge. So Trailblaze number 3 is going to be shielded at this point, and this one I'm going to have to double shield as well. We are going to see another full send of the Earthquake. I'm going to overfarm so much. Go for the Trailblaze here. Trailblaze will be enough damage to get the KO, so he grabs the final shield. The opponent then swaps into a Primeape. I could have actually overfarmed a little bit here, but we full send the Wild Charge. We get the one shot, and the opponent doesn't commit to a farm down. Instead, gonna fire off the Charge Move. Again, they full send the Earthquake. What on earth is their second move there? I don't really understand, but either way, we're going to fire for Surf. Surf will be enough damage to get the KO up against the Clodsire, and then of course they've got Mandibuzz in the back. I'm actually going to stay in with my Pikachu. I want to go for a Wild Charge here. Dark Pulse does big damage, but we hang on, and then we got a very hard wall to the Mandibuzz in the form of Dedenne. Gonna resist everything they throw aside from maybe a Shadow Ball, which is pretty unlikely, but either way I should be able to live Shadow Ball very comfortably. They go for the Dark Pulse there, doesn't do much damage. The opponent actually throws a last second charge move, but it's just not going to be enough damage there. Aerial Ace does not get the KO. Thundershock takes out the Mandibuzz, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into next battle. You can see a Wigglytuff in the lead. So this is, I should be able to at least reach 2 charge moves here. So I'm going to go straight for the Trailblaze. Trailblaze is going to be shielded by the opponent, and they're actually going to go straight for a Swift, which is kind of okay with me. We are going to go for one Thundershock, fire off the Wild Charge right off the bat here. Wild Charge is boosted, but it gets shielded by the opponent. I'm now going to swap into Dedenne, and unfortunately they do have a Mud Slap user in the form of Gastrodon. We don't throw it on the best timing, so we give them a full Mud Slap in for free. It doesn't really make a difference there because I miss out on like one Thundershock. That's not going to do much damage up against the Gastrodon, so it doesn't really matter too much. But either way, we're going to come in with the Pikachu, shield the first move. They actually full send a Water Pulse there, which is huge because it will not allow them to reach a Body Slam here. We can fire off a Surf. Surf will get the KO. However, unfortunately, Wigglytuff will be able to just fully charm, farm down the Pikachu, come out with another Swift loaded, and unfortunately, Raichu going to be going down to the Swift, and we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there into the next battle. You can see Dedenne in the lead. So now we've just got pretty random backlines here, all with buffed Pikachu clones in the back there. So we've got a Alolan Raichu and Togedemaru on this team. The opponent actually just goes straight for an Ice Punch there, so I can afford to no-shield that. We're now going to go straight for a Parabolic Charge. Parabolic Charge is going to be no-shielded by the opponent, again, boosting up our defense. So I actually got very lucky with Dedenne with those defense boosts. Previously, I have tried to use Dedenne, and I just didn't get very many boosts at all, and honestly, without those boosts, you might as well just run Discharge. Even though Discharge isn't the best move, it's at least cheaper. But here, we are going to shield as the opponent does full send the Duron this time around. We've already boosted our attack with that Fell Stinger. The opponent then shielded, so clearly they don't have the best response to a Togedemaru, and they actually come in with a Raichu. So at this point, they could be running Break. Even then, it's still not going to get the KO. I choose to no-shield first because now I can go for the Wild Charge, drop my defense here. Wild Charge does huge damage. I'm now going to fire off a Fell Stinger. Fell Stinger coming through, doesn't quite get the KO, but the boosted Thundershock does the job. They come in with a Shadow for Alligator. I can just go straight for the Wild Charge. Wild Charge will grab the final shield, and we can come in with our Alolan Raichu. And of course, we already get the Thundershock through. We do have the energy now for the Wild Charge. We're going to throw it straight away into this for Alligator, and of course a Wild Charge up against Shadow for Alligator easily gets the one shot, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG top on there, into next battle, going to lead Raichu this time into a Shadow Kanto Marowak. So this is not great, however, we do at least have Emolga in the back, so I'm going straight for the Trailblaze here. Hopefully the opponent does just no-shield this, but unfortunately they do shield, and I can't really swap out either because, of course, if I come in with more Pekko, we're just going to be Mudslap farm down. So if we come in with the Emolga there, the opponent could just swap out if they wanted to, but now we've given them a huge energy advantage. They can reach back-to-back rock slides before we even make it to an acrobatic, so that's definitely not ideal. However, I'm going to overfarm, fire off the acrobatics. Hopefully the opponent does just let this go through, and the opponent no shields. It gets the KO there, but they've got a second ground type in Diggersby. What the heck is this team? It's not looking too good for us here, but we are going to fire off the acrobatics. That does about 50% of their HP, and then I'm able to just randomly swap, catch a Fire Punch onto my Morpeko there, which is great for me. Of course, Fire Punch probably would have got the KO up against my Emolga in the back there, so able to preserve some health. I needed to grab a shield there, but unfortunately the opponent knows it is just a Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs not going to do much damage there. Scorching Sands gets the KO, and they actually had a Pokemon weak to the electric typing in the back in the form of Mandibuzz, but it just doesn't matter at this point. Discharge, gonna be shielded. I could throw another Discharge, it wouldn't get the KO anyway, so there's no point. The opponent fires off a Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse takes out Emolga, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG Sopo there, into next battle, going to be leading with Pikachu up against Serperior, so not great for us, but we do at least have two Pokemon that resist the grass typing in the back there. So I say swap into my Togedemaru. I'm going to bait with a Fell Stinger here, and we're able to grab a shield. The opponent then throws immediately, so maybe I could have just gotten away with going for the Wild Charge immediately as well. I assume we probably win CMP in that matchup, but either way, we fire off the Wild Charge. Wild Charge grabs the final shield from the opponent, and remember, we did bank a Wild Charge on our Pikachu, so we're going to come back in, go for two Thunder Shocks, fire off the Wild Charge here. Wild Charge is going to connect. It gets the KO. They come in with a Shadow Dragonite, and we're able to actually lift the Dragon Breath damage there. Wild Charge nearly one-shots the Dragonite. They're going to swap back into Serperior, but this is absolutely fine now. I'm going to shield. I thought they're not going to bait here, but they do. They go for an Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace is going to grab my final shield. Frenzy Plant is resisted. It still does some decent damage there. However, I can go straight for the Acrobatics. Acrobatics gets the one-shot. One more Thunder Shock. Takes out the Shadow Dragonite, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's top on there, into next battle, leading Raichu into a Jumpluff, and we've got Morpeko and Emolga in the back this time around, so going to go straight for the Wild Charge here, and then again I will just swap out into my Emolga here, and we do actually wall their energy unless they're running like Dazzling Gleam, which would be very weird. They go for an Energy Ball for some reason, and then they swap into Dunsparce, so I'm going straight for the Acrobatics here. Acrobatics will do very big damage if it connects, which it does, but the opponent does a perfect job of overfarming, just throwing before we reach the next Discharge. So at this point, they actually go for a Drill Run there. Drill Run still gets the KO, which is quite unfortunate for us, because if it did not get the KO there, I could have reached a Discharge and possibly grabbed the shield, but either way, we're now going to come in with the Raichu. I'm going to shield this, and then I will outpace him to back-to-back Trailblazes. So we're going to fire off the first one here. Trailblaze number one is actually going to be no-shielded by the opponent, and let's see what the opponent wants to do here. The opponent's going to come in with a Primeape, so at this point I'm just going to go straight for Trailblaze. Trailblaze number two is going to be shielded by the opponent, and then I'm going to swap, catch what I think to be a Rage Fist onto my Morpeko, and it is a Rage Fist, which is very nice. We can now fire off a Psychic Fangs. We throw on CMP as well. Psychic Fangs will be coming through, and it grabs the final shield from the opponent, so things are actually looking pretty good for us. The opponent goes for another Rage Fist. The opponent actually undercharges that, however, which is not really ideal. However, we're going to come in, and I make a huge mistake here. Why am I going for the Wild Charge? I just debuffed their defense. Trailblaze would have easily got the KO, and because I debuffed my own defense there, now unfortunately I'm not able to reach a Wild Charge up against the Jumpluff, and of course they can just Fairy Wind, farm me down to take that game. But GG's top over there, into the next battle, another Raichu in the lead, and we've actually got the same backline, it looks like, as well. So we're going to go stay in, just going to fire off a Trailblaze straight away. Trailblaze is going to be no-shielded. I'm actually able to reach another Trailblaze here before the opponent throws any of their energy. So Trailblaze number two is going to be no-shielded again. So at this point, I am double boosted. They go for a Sludge Bomb there. I should be able to live the next charge move anyways, but it looks like the opponent is massively lagging. I actually didn't realize this at the time. So we are going to go and fire off another Trailblaze. Trailblaze is going to be shielded. At this point, I will just let the Raichu go down, but the opponent full sends the Earthquake there, which is fine. We're going to come in with the Morpeko. I'm hoping that a Psychic Fangs will get the KO from this range. I really do hope that. So we go for the Psychic Fangs. It actually doesn't quite take them out there, and the opponent is able to reach a Charge Leaf. I'm hoping this is just a Sludge Bomb, so we're going to no-shield this. It still does a lot of damage, to be fair. They come in with a Mana Buzz, so I'm going to bank the energy. I realize there's no point throwing a resisted Charge Route. Instead, we're going to bank the energy, swap into our Mulga, and the opponent actually comes in with Shallow for Alligator. So at this point, we're going to fire off the Discharge here. Discharge is going to be no-shielded by the Feraligatr. They come back in with the Mana Buzz, and we are allowed to make it to another Discharge. Discharge, if this grabs the shield, is going to be game over because, of course, now the form has changed from our Morpeko. We're going to come back, and we will have the Electric Aura Wheel. So we go for one Thunder Shock, fire off the Aura Wheel, and Aura Wheel will be enough damage to take out the Mana Buzz, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG to opponent there, into the next battle, Dedenne in the lead, and we've actually got the, I can't even remember what this Pokemon's called. What is that third Pokemon called there? We've got Alolan Raichu, and we have got some other Pokemon that I've forgotten its name. I will say, I don't think I actually got a single win with it. It definitely was the worst of these Pokemon, and I think it's just because it's got Spark. It does not have Thunder Shock. However, it does have access to Thunder Punch, which did get buffed this season, so I'm running with Thunder Punch instead of Wild Charge. I think it's called Pawmot, something like that. But either way, going to go for a Trailblaze here into this Diggersby. Trailblaze is going to be no-shielded, and unfortunately it doesn't really put them into Thunder Shock farm down range, but I'm going to have to shield anyways as they go for another Scorching Sands. They're then going to swap back into their Malamar, so I'm going to fire for Wild Charge here. Wild Charge probably going to be shielded by the opponent, and it is shielded by the opponent. We're going to fire for another Wild Charge. Wild Charge number 2 is going to grab the final shield from the opponent, and I was thinking about swapping out there, but the opponent is going to throw just before I'm allowed to do so. They go for a Foul Play, they get the KO, and it is a Pawmot. So there we go. I've remembered now. I guess the middle stage evolution is called Pawmo, so that's why I got confused by it. They all look pretty much the same anyways, but we go for a Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch actually doesn't quite get the KO there. We do get the Spark Farm down. They've got Toxapex in the back, so we have already seen that team. It was a slight different order, I think. But either way, GG's to opponent there into the next battle. We're going to see Dedenne in the lead up against a Morpeko, so pretty cool to see here. We are going to no-shield the first Charge Move as they go straight for Aura Wheel, dealing big damage here. And I'm pretty much guaranteed that they're going to shield, so I'm going to go straight for a Parabolic Charge. Parabolic Charge is going to be shielded. Again, it boosts up my defense. It doesn't really matter again, so we're just going to no-shield. Psychic Fangs will actually get the KO. Well, get the KO, I can talk. And now we're going to come in with our own Morpeko. I didn't want to throw straight away because we do have a lower CP, so most Morpeko have just been caught at, like, you know, either from a research or as a GBL reward, so they probably have better attack than I do, so I didn't want to throw straight away and lose CMP, so instead we overfarm there, we go for a Psychic Fangs, dealing big damage up against the Galarian Weezing, dropping their defense, and I'm able to reach another Psychic Fangs here. So Psychic Fangs number 2 is going to be shielded by the opponent, and the opponent is going to overfarm just slightly. We have got them very low here. I'm going to no shield, they go for a Brutal Swing, we're going to come in with the Emolga, and I believe they do just barely have enough energy for an overheat, so I'm going to shield. They actually bait with the Brutal Swing, and they come in with a Dugong, so honestly, I'm not too fussed about shielding there because that will very easily allow me to make it to back-to-back discharges. First one does big damage, the second one will be enough damage to easily take out the Dugong, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's up on there. I was actually battling someone on my friends list, which is very cool. Into the next battle, we're going to see a Pikachu up against a shiny Clefable, and once again the Pawmot is making a return, so a bit of a spoiler, but we obviously lose this game since I mentioned that we did not get a win with the Pawmot. However, this was an incredibly close battle, so going to go for the Wild Charge here. Wild Charge is going to be shielded by the Clefable, so at this point I'm just going to let the Pikachu go down. Swift gets the KO. We can come in with the Alolan Raichu, and again I think the opponent is just going to fire off a Swift straight away. So going to no-shield this. Swift doesn't do too much damage here. I'm going to overfarm, throw on the CMP tie. At this point, surely they don't double shield. So Wild Charge gets the KO there, and let's see, the opponent's going to come in with a Serperior. So unfortunately, not great for us. We're going to go for another Wild Charge. Wild Charge is going to be no-shielded, and this is really unfortunate for us because Aerial Ace is actually going to do neutral damage in this situation. So whilst it's non-stab, it's not going to hit that hard. I still kind of need to shield this because Pawmot is incredibly glassy, so we're going to fire off a Thunder Punch here on the CMP tie. Honestly, I was hoping this would get the KO, but Thunder Punch does not get the KO there. I was also expecting maybe to grab a shield, but also I could not go for a close combat there because of course I would just debuff my defense. So if they shielded, Aerial Ace would have taken us out. But now we go for the Wild Charge. Wild Charge is actually shielded. We bank a close combat, and of course it's super effective. It gets the one shot there, but unfortunately they live the spark damage. One Vine Whip takes out the Pormot, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to up there into next battle, Pikachu into a Morpeko, and they just go straight for a Psychic Fang, so this is fine with me. I can no-shield this. If they go for Aura Will, honestly, Aura Will probably one-shots us, so now we can overfarm just a little bit, fire off a Surf here. Surf is going to be no-shielded by the opponent, and at this point I definitely can't afford to shield this. The opponent goes for another Psychic Fangs here, but this is fine. They haven't actually buffed up their attack at all, so we're going to come in with the Togedemaru, and at this point I think, well, actually the opponent's going to swap into their Goodra. We're going to fire off a Fell Stinger first. I know Wild Charge is going to be resisted damage. It's still going to do a lot of damage. However, if we boost up our attack first, now these Wild Charges might threaten a shield or even just get the KO up against this Goodra. So, going to fire off the first one. Wild Charge, number one, is going to be no-shielded. It does huge damage. I can now just settle for a Fell Stinger. And honestly, from this range, it should get the KO, but it grabs a shield from the opponent. And at this point, I'm thinking, if they thrown straight away, I might be able to go for a full Thundershock farm down before the opponent reaches another Aqua Tail, and we just barely get there in time, which is clutch for us. The opponent then comes in with a Azumarill. I know Morpeko has a little bit of residual energy, so I've just got to be very careful. Each time I throw a discharge, I need to have another discharge already banked. So at this point, I'm going to shield this up here. The opponent fires off a Play Rough, which is great for me. They then swap back into Morpeko. We can go straight for the discharge. Discharge gets the KO, and now I should be able to outpace this Azumarill to back-to-back discharges. We've seen this already up against very bulky water types. The first one does some respectable damage, and a second discharge will definitely be enough damage to easily take out Azumarill, and I'm able to take that game. So GG top on there, into next battle, we can see a Pikachu into a Primeape. So again, if the opponent is going to go straight for a Rage Fist, I'm just going to no-shield this, similar to the Morpeko situation. If they don't full send the nuke, I'm just going to no-shield. I don't plan on shielding my Pikachu anyway, so we go for the Wild Charge. That does big damage. We then swap into Pormot, as I realised I could actually farm them down before they reach the next charge move, but unfortunately met with a Clodsire. So this is definitely not great for us. We're going for the close combat. Close combat is going to be no-shielded by the opponent. And at this point, I'm just going to let the Pormot go down. The opponent goes for a Sludge Bomb there. Sludge Bomb does get the KO since I did debuff my defense. However, honestly, it probably would have gotten the KO even if I didn't debuff myself there. But either way, we're going to come in with our Raichu. We are going to shield this up as the opponent fires off another Sludge Bomb, which isn't really ideal. It means they are going to be very spammy. I'm then going to swap here. I swapped too soon, but I didn't want to go over 100 energy. So instead, we're going to go for a Surf. The opponent actually catches that onto Azumarill. If I was able to react in time, fire off a Wild Charge, maybe we still had some play here, because this Trailblaze would have put them into Thundershock farm down range. And if I came out with like 2 Trailblazers up against that Clodsire, despite them having 2 shields advantage, maybe we could have done something. However, unfortunately, at this point, it's going to be game over, as I realise the opponent will outpace me to back-to-back charge moves before I'm able to grab the final shield from the opponent and then fire off another Trailblaze. So I just let the move go through. They're able to Poison Sting, farm me down, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's top over there into the final battle of this video, once again leading our Dedenne into a Morpeko. This time we're actually going to go straight for a Play Rough, which I do think is a mistake. As I mentioned last time, they're just guaranteed to shield here, so we're going to go for the Play Rough, probably going to grab a shield and then get outpaced to the next charge move. However, they would outpace me to the next move anyways, and they don't really overfarm by too much, so Psychic Fangs will get the KO. We are going to come in with our Togedemaru most likely. Yep, we come in with the Togedemaru, and they are boosted, so I'm definitely going to shield this. The opponent goes for the Aura Wheel. Once again, that honestly would get very close to taking us out there. We can now fire off a Wild Charge, and Wild Charge, of course, not boosted yet, but it will get the KO up against the Morpeko. And let's see what the opponent wants to do. They come in with a Primeape, so going straight for the Wild Charge, number 2. And then I will clear that debuff, swap into my Alolan Raichu, and we're going to come in with the Raichu here. Honestly, I should be able to live a Rage Fist. However, I don't know what they've got in the back, so I'm going to shield the first one. I should actually be able to make it to the Wild Charge just before they reach the next Rage Fist. Wild Charge gets the KO, and they've got Shadow for Alligator in the back, and we're able to win CMP with our Alolan Raichu, firing off the Wild Charge. Wild Charge gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.